Hi guys, welcome to Ninelink. This is your host Alex. Today we are not going to talk about particular plants or flowers or anyway. I'm just going to talk about general. Most of the questions that I got usually revolve around some of the very general questions. Number one is, how much do I need to water my plant? And you know, should I water every day, or should I water every other 3 days, or every other days? So here's my answer for you. This question is actually really depends. It's not a fixed question. It's kind of a variable form of way to handle this. Number one thing you need to determine is what zone you live in. Number two, what kind of plant it is. And then number three is what kind of potting mix you use. I never like to give people, like when people ask me, okay, this is, like for example, jasmine made of New Orleans, how many times I need to water this plant? Well, there are a lot of factors you need to look at. Like I said, the three major factors is what zone you live in, basically temperatures and stuff, humidity. And the second thing is what kind of plant is it? And the third thing is what kind of potting mix do you use? What I mean by what kind of plant it is generally requires you know the plants and know what the size of the plant is. Is it root bounded to the pot already, or is it a brand new plant? Is it small and you plant it in the big pots? And then when I ask question, like what kind of potting mix is it? Is it really well drained potting mix, or is it really a high water retention potting mix? So you have to ask all these questions and then determines how much watering you need. And I don't typically, like I said earlier, say, okay, let's just water that once a day or 3 times a day. Sometimes with that kind of a mentality, you usually sometimes overwater or underwater. So just keep your eyes on the plants, and if you plant certain species over a long time, you'll understand their needs. Like for example, some plants like Zambidians, for example, you typically don't want to overwater, so you typically need to have a good draining potting mix. So very acidic. So it's like coconut husk or like tree barks inside, or a little bit of sphagnum moss, and then you water them like hot day once early in the morning. That's it. Now for things like night blooming jasmine, this plant, it doesn't matter if it's pot bounds or not pot bounds, it drinks water a lot. And so typically for this kind of plant, it's really easy for you. Just water it once a day should be good, very good. And also don't water during the raining days. It's really common sense. And also make sure you use the correct potting mix. Like for acidic plants, try to use more of sphagnum moss, very coarse, like coconut husk, so they have more of breathing room. Roots have more breathing room down there, and at the same time, it contains water, and also it does not contain too much water where it gives root rots. So in terms of how do I water my plants, I love to help, but most of the time I need to know, if you ask me a question or comments, I would really like to know, hey, Alex, I'm growing this jasmine in the same pot, let's for example, 5 years now, and it doesn't not do, it doesn't do really well. I only water it once in 3 days. Then I would definitely recommend you to go ahead. If it's in the same pot for 5 years, it's gotta be root bound already. And I'll take it that the plant is healthy, so give it water at least once a day during the hot days. So if it's cloudy, overcast days, don't worry about watering. Skip a day is fine. So it's really again, this question of how many times or how much I should water my plants, it's very variable. It's not fixed. So just give you guys little tip on watering. And from my understanding, I'm not a professional, but for all these plants that I collect, I kind of, it's like a friend you spend time with so long that you understand their personality. Like for example, for neem tree here, it's very drought tolerant. Means I can water a day, even though it's really hot out there. Let's say I forgot to water it for 2 days. Its leaf will come down. It's kind of like night blooming jasmine also. The leaves will come down. It'll drop a little bit. It's not a problem. Once you water it, it goes straight back up. So these kind of plants actually have a little bit of indication on when it needs water. So it's pretty nice. Just, just give you guys a general, my understanding of how watering your plants. Once you know your plant well, watering just kind of like everyday routine thing. You don't have to, go into detail. Oh my God, you can feel it. You can feel it. Okay. Anyway, if you have a question about anything, just please leave a comment below, and I'll talk to you next time.